Coming up next on the CHGO Cubs podcast, presented by Toyota and Bet365, your Chicago Cubs enter the work week tied for the best record in the National League. Who's exceeding projections? Who's falling short? We'll go through the list. Plus, you've all been waiting for it. It's our all-quarter century Cubs team. Oh, some of you are going to be angry. CHGO Cubs, play the song. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? This is the CHGO Cubs podcast, driven by Toyota. Let's go places and Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. Use the code CHGO365 when you sign up. We have a big show lined up for you. Cubs are off today. Then they get ready to take on the Nationals, which will be fun. And we'll be here for post-game shows for that. We decided to do a show today because the Cubs have the best record in the National League, tied with the Mets. Who would have thought that as we enter June, now June 2nd, and the Cubs are sitting there in a spot I'm not sure I thought they were going to be at. But here we are, and we are going to go through our all-quarter century team. Everybody's doing it, so we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And I think we have some mistakes on our list, but that's okay. We're going to work through it. It'll be our own therapy session.
Credit to The Athletic for starting it. And I saw that our pals, Patrick Mooney and Sahadev Sharma, put a Cubs one together. I haven't actually looked at it.
I haven't either. So we'll have to compare with
them. According to Sahadev tweet, though, he said that people were yelling at them, too. So if people are yelling at them, they're definitely going to yell at us. So
if I had $1 for every time I yelled at Patrick Mooney. No, that's not true. Moondog's one of the best. Yeah. So is Sahadev. So we'll get to that in a second. You know, we want to play with the whole exceeding projections because Jed said going into this season and at the end of last year and over again, and he's said it multiple times now, for the Cubs to have a special season, he needs players to exceed projections.
Yep.
And in the offseason, we got mad about it because we said, how about you exceed your payroll? How about that, buddy? And he responded with exceed projections. And that's the only way you have a real winning team. Well, the Cubs are, as a group, exceeding projections, Cody. 15 games over 500 and tied for the best record in the National League. Sitting here on June 2nd, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most surprised, how surprised are you?
I picked them to win the division. I said that they're going to win 90 games this year or more. And
they're on pace for like 100, though, aren't they?
But did I expect them to have a better record than the Los Angeles Dodgers on June 2nd? No.
And the Padres?
I thought they would be better than the Padres, honestly.
Okay.
I thought the Padres were going to take a step back this year because they didn't do anything in the offseason outside of sign Nick Pivetta.
I think everybody thought the Dodgers, well, people were talking about the Dodgers not losing the game, which obviously was totally ridiculous. But, I think most people thought the Dodgers would have the best record all season.
Yeah. People...
And they still might by the end of the year.
They had a player go on a John Boy podcast and said that we're expecting to win 120 games. You know what I mean? And I mean, maybe they could if they get hot, but objectively, I would say for the guys on their roster, they've kind of underperformed, which is crazy because they're still in first place in the NL West and they're still the Dodgers.
And they've had a ton of injuries.
Yeah, and I think injuries has played a big part in that. But they had a ton of injuries last year too, and they still did what they did. So I'm not saying that the Cubs are better than the Dodgers long term, but as we sit here today, record-wise, the Cubs are better than the Dodgers. And to see that they're tied for the best record in base or best record in the National League, and second best record in all of baseball on June 2nd, I did not expect that. So I would say exceeding projections overall, but I'm not surprised they're leading the Central. I'm not surprised that they're well ahead in the Central right now, or at least comfortably ahead in the Central. Cardinals lost yesterday, and with the Cubs winning, the Cubs are now 4 games up in the Central. And I know the Brewers have won like 7 straight. They caught the Red Sox at a good time because they're just free falling. And then they swept the Phillies this weekend? That doesn't make any sense. So they're still 5.5 back, despite the fact that they've won 7 in a row.
Right.
But they're above 500 now, and for the large majority of the last 2 months, the Brewers have either been at 500 or below 500. So they have got over that 500 mark, and we'll see if they keep it up. I know Yelich has gotten hot. It's kind of crazy. Entering the season, we all kind of felt like the Reds would be a bigger threat, and maybe they will be as the season goes along, but the Cubs have won 2 series against them, and that's huge.
Yep.
Shout
out to everybody in the live YouTube chat here at the new CHGO Cubs YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe if you have not. Make sure you like the show if you have not. Make sure you tell a friend, tell a relative, tell a neighbor, tell a stranger.
Yes.
Please do so. There's a good comment in there. Strength of schedule makes it even more impressive. I agree with that. Like the schedule they had to play, now the schedule's been much easier in the last couple of weeks, and they're in a stretch of 21 games against teams with losing records that they need to dominate. And right now they're 14-4 in that spot. So they're doing what they're supposed to do, even though the fact that the Cubs don't have all their guys. I think what makes it super impressive is the strength of schedule the first month of the season, and no Justin Steele and no Shota Imanaga.
Yeah.
And no Javier Báez. I know I like to include that one all the time because I think people forget about him, but he is a key piece to what I thought this team would be this season. So
he's a key piece because we're in an era of baseball where pitchers are getting hurt a lot.
Right.
And
there you go. We have 3 of them hurt.
Yeah, and he 8 innings for them last year, and he was productive. And I think in the right role, he can be a very valuable piece for this team. That due to those injuries, it's allowed to some other guys to get an opportunity, and a lot of them have taken the opportunity and excelled, and some of them not so much.
Wrigley Man 1 says he told Sam Bernaro to subscribe. Bernaro?
I know who he's talking about. That's
we appreciate it.
It's the lady who always takes the photos outside Wrigley.
Oh, okay, Sam. Yeah, I know Sam.
Yeah. I don't know how to say her last name, to be completely honest with you.
Sammy B. We call her Sammy B.
I think we can just call her that, yeah. She's a very nice lady.
Here's what I want to say about the 15 games over 500, tied for the best record in the National League. It feels weird to say this, but I've adjusted my belief in this team so much because of the first couple months that now I'm sitting here going, they're tied for the best record in the National League, and they're only up 4 games on the Cardinals. Mm-hmm. That part is, maybe that's just Cub fandom coming out of me for 50 years. I can't even be happy when I'm happy. It's that slight disappointment. Like, man, they're tied for the best record in the National League, yet we're only up 4 games on the crappy Cardinals, and the Brewers are still kind of in the conversation. Shouldn't we be up 10 games on these bums? Like, why do they have to be playing? Couldn't they be off to a terrible start? Why couldn't both those teams just be out of it? I want the Cubs to just put their foot on the division and crush the necks of every team in the division. That's what I want to see. And it still could happen.
I hear you. The Cardinals have been one of the bigger surprises in the league. I mean, everyone thought they were entering a rebuild this year. We've talked about about Arenado and the Cardinals trading him all offseason, and even going into this year with the possibility of him maybe getting moved before the deadline. And he really hasn't. I mean, he's been fine, but he hasn't been like the Nolan Arenado that I grew to know and hate when he was at the beginning of his tenure with the Cardinals. But they've had other guys in the most annoying voodoo magic way that I have grown to know my entire life, not just the last 7 years from the Brewers, but my entire life. They've had guys who have, like we're talking about today, exceed projections, and their pitching staff has somehow, some way kind of been more than just Sonny Gray. So, Mason Wynn, he was in the Rookie of the Year chase last year. He's putting together another good year this year. Brendan Donovan's been one of the better second basemen in baseball. That Lars Newbar's having a little bit of a bounce back year.
That's not a real name.
I know. I still
tell me that
still
all the
feel like
time.
he's a MLB The Show player, but somehow he's playing really good baseball.
It's a good
this
candy
year.
bar, though.
Yeah, but and then like Miles Michaelis, who I loathe, has like ERA like a 3.5 ERA, and he stinks, dude. He's sucked for the last couple years. For some reason, this year it's so annoying. It's so annoying. No one roots for that guy's downfall more than I do, because of the time he threw at Ian Happ on purpose because he's soft.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. The good thing that I get out of all of this, though, is that Jordan Walker still sucks. And I would feel different if Jordan Walker was finally living up to number one prospect in baseball potential, but he doesn't. He still sucks. He still has an OPS under 600 the last time I checked. And so, like, that's a guy that they need for this to, in my opinion, for them to actually remain sustainable. That's a guy I think they need to show up and be a dude. And
so let's hope he does not.
Right.
Again, like I say there's slight disappointment that they're not up bigger in the division, and it's only June 2nd. Mm-hmm. And that's only because my expectations continue to grow and grow and grow for the team. But it's nothing that they've done wrong. It's that they've done everything right. And so that I'm right on the edge of needing the reality spray for myself. Because I should be satisfied with a 4-game lead in the division. It's just that I'm a little disappointed that those two teams are actually off to a decent start too.
What's crazy is I think you can make an argument that the Central has been better than the NL East.
Yeah.
Like the Braves have been a massive disappointment. I think they're like 9 games out of the division.
I wouldn't listen. When the season's all said and done, I still think I don't really necessarily want to play the Braves too much.
Well, I don't know if the Braves will even be in it.
I know, but I'm just saying, like
right now,
I know
the
Cap
NL
thinks they're trading Sale.
In the NL East right now, it's the Phillies and the Mets. We know the Marlins are going to be selling. The Nationals, they're going to be up and down roller coaster all year because they're so young. They're not a team that I feel like the Cubs should be, sleeping on going into this week. That's for sure.
No, definitely not.
And then the Braves are just a team that just, it seemed like bad vibes were immediately happening with this team when the guy they signed this offseason got caught with using PEDs.
The Phillies?
No, the guys for the Braves, the outfielder.
Oh, yes.
That was with the Padres. He signed a 4-year deal with the Braves.
You're killing me. Chat, help us.
He got caught with PEDs.
I was thinking of the Phillies closer you're talking about.
No, it was an outfielder.
Yes.
They got Acuna back finally, and he's hit a couple homers since he came back, so he looks healthy.
Oh, man, my mind is so soft on him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm waiting for the Braves to show up, but they've been objectively the biggest disappointment in the National League, in my opinion.
No question about it. I would, if you would have said going into the season who are 5 best teams in the league, I would have put the Braves in that conversation.
Yeah.
But we'll see how.
And the Diamondbacks are like right there too, and they've started to kind of fade a lot. I don't know did you see Corbin Burns' injury yesterday? Like, who knows how that's gonna go? I jokingly replied to one of PHNX D-backs' tweets. They're doing a mailbag show. I think it was either today or yesterday, and they were asking people to send them questions, and I sarcastically was like, what will it take for Zach Gallen to the Cubs for cash considerations? But Zach Gallen has an ERA at like 5.5 right now.
I'd take him, though.
I'd still take him, yeah.
Fix him in the lab.
Yes, throw him in the lab and let's see what happens, But the point is the Diamondbacks have, I think they're below 500 right now.
Triantos for Gallen. Who says no?
I don't think you'd have to move Triantos for Gallen. That's how bad Gallen has been. It's baseball. In many ways, you can make an argument that it's still early. And, we talk about Braves and the D-backs. All it takes is a couple weeks of really good ball, and they're right there, and they just haven't consistently put it together. I think the D-backs problem is their bullpen. I think the Braves problem, probably some injuries. I think they've had some offensive players who just, I don't know. I think they've really missed Acuna, but they got Acuna back. We'll see if it transforms, but I can't explain the Braves, to be honest with you.
That all said, this is, we're going to talk about which players individually have exceeded projections, which have met projections, and which have fallen short. In general, you could say the Cubs have definitely, as a team, greatly exceeded projections early in the season. And I don't know how you could have ever, other than the Steele injury and then the Shota, injury to a lesser degree because it's not season ending, they're like the only two negatives out of everything that's happened. Everything else has been incredible for this team. So we'll talk about that. We're going to get to individual players and then our all-quarter century team coming up in just a minute. But first, a word from our sponsors.
Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up and use code CHGO365. Deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Today, there's no Cubs baseball, but the Tigers play the White Sox.
Yes, they do.
Here in Chicago.
Sarah's going. She's running the 1s and 2s, and then she's going.
And I'm just going to be honest with y'all. It is the year of Javier Báez comeback.
And he loves to play there.
He loves playing at the Cell. And he loves when the opposing fans boo him. The rate, whatever. Whatever, Jerry. Whatever you want to call it. So I'm taking Javier Báez over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs at -115 on Bet365 today. Largely a gut pick, a vibes pick, because again, like we just said, he loves playing against the White Sox. He loves when the opposing fans boo him, and they all boo him for whatever dumb reason that I still don't understand. So you can ride with me. All you gotta do is sign up at Bet365. And again, if you're a new customer, you get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up and use code CHGO365. Deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. The bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, like the one I just gave you, futures, if you want to bet on PCA to win MVP, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be assessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER.
Just like your favorite team needs a home court, home field, home ice advantage, your home needs a home flooring advantage, and Empire Today can help you get it. Empire Today has flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. We've all been to the big box store. You walk around aimlessly through those big aisles, the neon lights making you dizzy. Those big box stores might have a flooring department, but the person helping you also might have been working on sinks or toilets yesterday and might be stocking light bulbs tomorrow. Empire Today lives and breathes flooring. They'll be with you every step of the way. It's a whole different ballgame. Their flooring experts bring the showroom right to your home. Pick the right flooring and the right colors for your space. See how it looks with your furniture in your house. With Empire Today, you get clear, upfront, all-inclusive pricing. Plus, you can schedule a free installation as soon as the next day because nobody likes to wait. Schedule that free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. CHGO listeners can receive a $350 discount when using the promo code CHGO. You heard me right. $350 off with the code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/CHGO for details. It is time for our Taking the Temp segment. Your trusted local experts are Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit Four Seasons heatingcooling.com for all your special offers and money-saving coupons. That's Four Seasons heatingcooling.com. We all agree the Cubs, 15 games over 500, are exceeding our projections so far in 2025. But Jed Hoyer wants to know which players are exceeding projections in 2025. So we've decided we'll put some players into categories and see if you'd agree with us.
Yeah.
Join in the live YouTube chat here at the new CHGO Cubs YouTube channel, which, by the way, you should subscribe. Tell a friend, tell a family member, tell a total stranger.
Yeah.
Should we start positive and talk about the guys that are exceeding?
The team is the second best team in the National League. Let's be positive for as long as we can.
They're tied for the best record in the National League.
Whatever.
Better than the Dodgers. All right. Exceeding projections. I have two names right off the top that are super simple, and it is the Cubs catchers. As a group, Cubs catchers, Amaya, Carson Kelly, and for one game, Reese McGuire. All exceeding projections. The Cubs, that position alone is a massive exceeding projections position for the Cubs, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I was looking on Fangraphs today. I'm going to go check and see where we're at now. I did this, I want to say, right after Amaya got hurt, and we almost like hours before we experienced the Reese McGuire game. But the Cubs catching tandem going into that time was the second best in baseball behind the Mariners in terms of Fangraphs WAR. They are now third in Fangraphs WAR at 2.5. At the time, I think they were 2.7. So you're seeing the decline a little bit there without Amaya here. But it's Seattle at 3.7, largely because of Cal Raleigh, who's like having an insane season, if you hadn't realized. Toronto's at 2.6, and then the Cubs are 2.5. As a team at catcher, the Cubs are slashing 267, 349, 534 slug with a 146 WRC plus. To put that in perspective, Seattle 156 WRC plus, and that is largely Cal Raleigh. So the Cubs catching tandem had together, Amaya and Kelly were giving you an insane amount of production that I think we were all optimistic about Amaya taking a step, but no one saw April Carson Kelly coming. I know he's fallen off a little bit here in May, but you still look at the numbers and you're like, he's still putting up these decent numbers.
Yeah.
I think it largely has a lot to do with the fact that he just didn't play every day. And now that Amaya's out and he's going to be relied upon a little bit more, I'm a little fearful of that regression. But I also, like, when he's up there, he hits a lot of fly balls or line drives. And even when he hits them on the ground, it's hit hard. So I'm not expecting him to have another 8 home run month, but I am expecting some form of production to continue. It's been a little bit of a rough patch of late, especially Saturday against the Reds was really frustrating, but because he hit like multiple double plays. But overall, yeah, the Cubs catching tandem offensively at least has been wild.
As we used to say in the old days, stock up.
Yeah, stock up.
Stock up.
Stock is up.
And remember, Amaya used to be the Cubs' #1 prospect. It has been injuries that has really slowed him down. And now it seems like he's finally getting there, and here comes another injury. I don't think there's any question. 2 of the outfielders 100% go on the list for sure. And we can argue the other ones. But for sure, Pete Crow Armstrong and Seiya Suzuki are blowing away their projections. You go and look at their Fangraphs before the season, it's ridiculous how much, like, PCA is in a MVP conversation, and the projections didn't love him before the year.
Right.
And Seiya, what did you get the bet at? 19 homers a year?
19 and a half.
Okay. So he's blowing past projections too. Those two are maybe the easiest no-brainers on the whole list.
Yeah. If you had told me back in March, before the Cubs went to Japan, that we'd be sitting here in June and talking about PCA with a 280, 313, 560 slash line with a 141 WRC plus and having the highest WAR among center fielders in all of baseball, and literally right there in the NL most valuable player race, objectively, I would have told you that you were drinking more Kool-Aid than me, brother. Like, we talk about PCA every day, and it might sound like a broken record, but it is absolutely insane what we're watching. I believe the season projection from Fangraphs for him was 10 homers and to finish somewhere with like a 2.8 Fangraphs WAR. He's skyrocketed past that, and it's not even the All-Star break. The question is, can he keep this up? Can he do this for the rest of the season? And then once we get there and he does, the question after that will be, can he replicate it again? But for right now, if you are not enjoying PCA, if you're finding a reason to be skeptical about PCA, then I don't know why you watch sports. I don't. So
PCA
I'm
right
enjoying
now,
it.
He's that meme where the guy's walking with his girlfriend, and the guy turns around and is looking at the girl walking past. PCA is the girl that's walking past, right? Like that's where we're at right now with Pete Crow Armstrong. So he's on that list. I would argue both guys in the middle of the infield too. Both Nico and Dansby have exceeded projections for me. We talked about, I tweeted out, I don't know, maybe a month ago, 3 weeks ago, Dansby's on pace for like more home runs than he's ever hit in his career. And the defense has been just as good. And Nico, for a guy that how could you give a projection? You didn't know what the guy was going to do. He came to spring training with a brace on his arm. He had surgery that we didn't know about for most of the offseason. And it was like everybody assumed last offseason he was going to be traded, and then he had surgery, and he wasn't going to be traded. And now he's come back, and he's just played great second base. I mean, great second base.
Yeah.
3 more hits on Sunday. And they've both been part of this resurgence of the Cubs running game. Like, you want to talk about ways the Cubs have exceeded projections. They've exceeded them on defense. They've exceeded them on the base paths. They've exceeded them offensively in ways they've exceeded them at times in the bullpen. And some of the guys in the rotation we'll get to, like all over the diamond, the Cubs have exceeded projections. So what about Nico and Dansby?
We're related to Nico. In all of baseball, Nico Hoerner is a 1.5 Fangraphs WAR, which is third best in all of baseball. Only Brendan Donovan, who I mentioned in the first segment, having an insane season for the Cardinals, exceeding projections, you might say. And some guy who I guess I should get to know a little bit more, Ernie Clement for the Blue Jays. Do you know who that is?
Is it Matt Clement's brother?
Maybe, but I did not know who he is. But he has a 1.7
Check his
WAR
beard and see if it looks like Matt Clement.
1.7 WAR with the Blue Jays. But Nico Hoerner, 1.5, third best in baseball. I looked it up yesterday when we were talking about him on postgame. I believe he leads all second basemen in baseball in defensive runs saved and outs above average. So I think we can confidently sit here and make an argument for Nico Hoerner to start the All-Star game, because even though Brendan Donovan is for sure having a better offensive year, hitting .323, has a 139 WRC plus, that's way better than any other second baseman in baseball except for, shockingly, Gleyber Torres. But I think if you talk about overall player, Nico Hoerner has displayed the best defense at that position, and he's hitting .301 with a 346. 107 WRC plus,
and he had no Cactus League.
Yeah,
he started the season injured.
Yeah. I think if he doesn't start the All-Star team, he makes a really good argument to at least be on the team this year for the National League, because he's objectively just been one of the best second basemen in the National League, right there with Brendan Donovan. Right, so. As far as exceeding projections, I think as a hitter, maybe he's exceeding a little bit at the batting average right now, because he's never been a 300 hitter. He's always been like around a 280 guy. And last year, for most of the season, he hit like 250, and he was kind of frustrating to watch. But we knew he was hurt like the entire season, and he still gutted it out and still gave you a 4-win season. But right now, like he's giving you elite Gold Glove defense at second and giving you really good offense, and we haven't mentioned this yet, at least in this show, one of the best hitters with runners in scoring position this year, hitting I think Tony Andracki tweeted
414
yesterday.
400 something, right?
Yeah, after yesterday, he's hitting 424. I think Tony Andracki updated that yesterday. So, yeah, I mean, I'm more impressed by Nico Hoerner this year than I am Dansby. I think Dansby, at least in his first half, if you compare his first half to last year to this year, it's it's night and day. I think he's giving you the same typical season. I think in terms of home runs, he's exceeding projections, but yes. I think as an overall player, a lot of it is the same. He still will go through a slump. He's still showing us.
But the power is exceeding projections, is why he's on this list right now.
And the power is the reason that that you can make an argument that he's having a better season than he has ever with the Cubs.
All right, let's just do the pitchers. I'll run through the list of names we're going to put in there, and Sarah can just show the whole list now. For exceeding projections, I've got all these guys: Boyd, Keller, Pomeranz, Theobar, Flexen, Palencia. Now, I'm not going to lie. Go through that list and tell me where your confidence level was going into the season. If Jed Hoyer wants to right now, 2 months into the season, go into the front office and be like, hey, man, look what I did. Mm-hmm. You want to see my resume for so far this season? He pulls up this list of names and says, these guys are dealing for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're doing it on the cheap.
Well, Matt Boyd's making, what, like $15 million this year?
He's the one, but he's still like a guy that we saw potential,
concerns.
But yeah, there were concerns because the injury stuff.
I wouldn't say that I was like,
he's exceeding projections.
He's exceeding projections because he's staying healthy.
Yeah.
To me, that was the biggest thing. If you look at the relievers, Brad Keller has been insane. That's a Tyler Zombro, Pitch Lab, Jed Hoyer, Carter Hawkins, like masterclass.
You go into Webster's, you open up, you look for exceeding projections, and Brad Keller's face is on the page.
Yeah. I know that when we talk about the exceeding projections thing, like you look at it in this negative way, and I'm with you in some of it. But if you can find relievers on a regular basis, like the Cubs have outside of last year, even years prior, they've gone and found random dudes and like turned them into value. You know what I mean? Julian Merriweather was one before, these last 2 years, right? But Brad Keller was a non-roster invitee. And he had some success with the Royals and then just was really bad for a handful of years, wasn't healthy. He's healthy now. The Cubs put him in the bullpen, and he's just, you might as well put what was the shirt that Andrew Chafin used to wear when he was with the Cubs? The obvious shirt? Failed starter. You might as well put the failed starter on him because he's been awesome as a bullpen guy. I mean, you started him as like a low leverage reliever, and now it's like you got to use that guy. Like we have people in the chat saying he should be closer. You know what I mean? And right. I think 7th, 8th inning guy is great for him. That is
high leverage. He's a high leverage guy.
Yeah. To find that at such a cheap, such a cheap way is great. Whether you want to sit here and complain about ownership or not, like that, like the best teams in baseball find those guys. And normally those teams will then spend more money on like guys like Kyle Tucker. You know what I mean? Right. So all I'm saying is while it is annoying that they haven't spent enough in our eyes, they organizationally, the way that they have found some of these pitchers is not something that we said 5 years ago that they were doing. And the list that we just put up there, Brad Keller, Caleb Thielbar, Drew Pomerantz, Chris Flexen, maybe Genesis Cabrera is going to be on there.
It's like holy water was spread in the dugout or something.
Yeah. So I give that pitching infrastructure a lot of credit.
All right, we're going to get to the meeting projections and failing to meet projections in a bit, and our all-quarter century team. But first, a word from our sponsor. Summer is going to be here. By the way, this week, the heat arrives. Starting tomorrow. Is your home's air conditioning ready for the challenge? 4 Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric has been serving the area for over 50 years. Now's the time to get your air conditioning checked out. And 4 Seasons experts are ready to help you with AC installation, maintenance, and repair. 2024 was officially the hottest year in Chicago on record. The heat index reached 114 degrees last summer at O'Hare. Just because we sweat out some of these Cubs wins doesn't mean you have to sweat in your house. Save up to $4,000 on a new comfort system with 4 Seasons. New AC units from $39 a month and new AC furnace combos from $57 a month. Call 866-4 Seasons. Your trusted local experts are 4 Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit 4seasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's 4 seasonsheatingcooling.com.
If you've ever tried to buy a home, get a loan, or just deal with money stuff in general, you know it can be a lot. I know it can be a lot. That's why we got to tell you about the Rate app, Luke. And it's seriously a game changer. You can get pre-approved for a mortgage in minutes without the need to jump through a million hoops. And if you're thinking about a home equity loan or a personal loan, you can secure one in under 15 days. The Rate app also helps you find the best homeowners and auto insurance based on what you actually need. The whole thing is powered by AI, so it's smart and saves you time and money. And something that is an unexpected bonus, they've added over 800 free wellness videos. Woo! Stuff like meditation, breathing exercises, stretching, I need to do more stretching. Basically, tools that help you feel better mentally and physically. So if you're stressed out about a loan or your mortgage, seriously, just let the Rate app handle it. Once that's covered, you can go hit one of their free wellness videos to chill out. It's one app that helps you with both your wallet and your well-being. Download the Rate app today to get started.
Very nice.
Also, we got the ticket giveaway. Coming up.
Yeah, the ticket giveaway is coming up for the Rate Club tickets. That's our summertime sweepstakes, sponsored by the Rate. Rate Club is all inclusive, right? Mm-hmm. That means food and drink, baby. And they got good food and drink on the south side at the Rate.
They do. That's something
we
always
have to say
them.
that.
Yep.
And so this is the deal. Go ahead and get involved and make sure you're signed up for this, because this is one worth winning. Let me just tell you.
Mm-hmm. CHGO.com/rate.
That's the info. CHGO.com/rate. No purchase necessary. Download the Rate app. Visit allchgo.com/rate. That's it.
Yep.
The game is July 26th. That's the Saturday game against the White Sox on the south side.
Do you think
they had me, you know how they had me at all-inclusive food and drink?
Absolutely. Do you think by then the Cubs will have traded for a starter?
That's a good point. Yeah, that could be
July 26th.
Cool.
Right around the trade deadline.
Could be their first start, right?
Yeah.
Could be the first time we see Chris Sale pitching a Cubs uniform against the White Sox. Could you imagine? Woo!
Dude, that would...
We need to see the Braves start to really tank it, and then we'll take Chris Sale and march him out there against the Sox. He'll cut the sleeves off everybody's jerseys, and we'll play.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, can he cut some sleeves off?
Quarter century team is coming up. We're just going through real quickly the exceeding projections. One name we didn't put on there that we probably should have, and I saw it in the live YouTube chat here at the new CHGO Cubs YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, tell a friend, is Cade Horton. I would say Horton has probably either met or exceeded since being called up.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that.
Right?
He's faced the Mets, the Marlins, the White Sox, and the Rockies.
Exactly.
You need to see more.
He's right. He's probably right between the two lists.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I know the first person that's going to take a little... Going to get a little pushback from people when we just say this person is meeting projections, not necessarily exceeding projections, is Kyle Tucker.
Yeah.
I have nothing bad to say about him. He's been spectacular. He's been exactly as advertised, which is one of the elite players, top 10 players in the game.
Yep.
That's what you got. That's what you see. So I don't think he's doing above and beyond what Kyle Tucker can do. He's doing exactly what Kyle Tucker can do. So that doesn't mean he's overrated, underrated, any of that garbage. Yeah. We're just saying Jed's trying to find these guys in the middle that are maybe not always great players, that this is their year, right? Mm-hmm. And I guess you could say that about what Tucker a little bit, because last year's year was cut short because of the injuries, and his numbers might prove out to be the best of his career this season with the Cubs. But right now, for me, he's exactly as advertised, and this is what I wanted. I wanted a superstar player. We've got a superstar player.
Yeah, he's been everything you could have asked for. The April felt like this guy was otherworldly. May, he had a couple weeks where he struggled. And
people wanted him DFA'd.
And I will make the argument. No, people didn't want him DFA'd.
Oh.
But I think people were like, there was some discourse. I remember reading about his effort because of a ball he didn't catch in Miami. That was stupid, objectively. But I think what we've learned when he quote unquote slumps, which I think is an overused word, by the way. It's more about, I think it's more of him being in a funk, or maybe he's just, his timing's off, whatever. I think a slump, it goes like funk, slump, and then you just suck. Like I think that's what it is. And right now, I think when Kyle Tucker struggled in May, I think it was more about funks, because he had some really good series, and then he had some series that were forgetful. You know what I mean? Ones that we'll forget about and never talk about again. But overall, despite through all that, he still has an OPS over 900 and has 12 homers on the year, and he's delivered in every. He's hit well with runners in scoring position more often than not. He's been everything that I could have asked for to this point. I think it's taking him time to adjust to right field at Wrigley based off the metrics that are on him right now, in terms of the fact that he has been considered a Gold Glove right fielder, and I don't think that those numbers are showing up for him early on here at the Cubs, but he's also playing in a lot of new ballparks that he hasn't played in before, including Wrigley Field. So I'm optimistic about that improving as the season goes along. So, yeah, I go to Wrigley Field on Fridays and hold a sign that says extend Kyle Tucker. It's not changing.
We still have to get to the all quarter century team, so we'll move this along a little bit. Here's the other players that are in meeting projections. I've got, along with Tucker, Tyone, Presley, who's bounced back, Shaw, who has bounced back, Ray, who's maybe regressed a little bit since previously exceeding projections. Michael Busch is right there where you want him. Yep. Porter Hodge was exceeding projections. Now he's injured. That's not his fault, but that puts him in the meeting projections or expectations for this season. Again, this list is still a great list to be on.
Yeah.
It's just not the 13 guys that we said above that. Now, below projections, even some of these guys on this list and below projections, even some of them could be bumped up to
just meeting
projections. And it's almost like I don't know where to put Justin Steele and Shota Imanaga. They're injured. Again, I don't want to sit. Yeah, they're not meeting projections because they're hurt. It's not their fault, but their season is not meeting their projected production. Okay?
Right.
So that's why they're on there. And because there's nowhere else to put them. It's not their fault. They're still two great pieces of the puzzle. Shota will come back, hopefully, and jump from this list back up to meeting expectations. And then hopefully, if he's even better, he'll get to the postseason and he'll be exceeding projections.
I think the thing is, though, with Shota, is that he was healthy all of last year. And thankfully, this injury is not related to the arm. But there's two ways you can look at it. It's like, okay, he's missed time, but he's saving bullets on the arm for the stretch run, right? And hopefully the postseason deep run. But when we look at his numbers at the end of the year, I think they'll probably not be as good as they were last year. Truthfully, I don't remember what the Fangraphs projections for him at the beginning of the year were, but the point is the guy, two of your best pitchers are hurt, and they have not, whether you want to count it for whatever it is, below projections or not, they normally, especially Shota, he's been healthy. He doesn't have injury prone on him. I think Steele is a guy that we're used to seeing on the injured list at least once. Unfortunately, this time it's for an entire season, so that sucks. But I'm not holding it against them. It's just we had to put him here. But I do think that because they're injured, when we get to the end of the year, it's like, they're well below projections.
And there's not a player on the Cubs that I feel more confident in meeting their projections when it's all said and done than Ian Happ.
Yeah.
He might be a little bit below right now, but do I think he's going to be there at the end of the season? No, I don't. I'm assuming he'll meet projections. Guys that failed to meet projections, really, the list could be this short. Nate Pearson, Julian Merriweather, Eli Morgan, Brazier was hurt. Right? Like, the list is so small of guys that you're actually disappointed in.
And I think with Justin Turner, what's been disappointing is we waited so long for an extra base hit.
Yeah. Turner's on that list for sure. There's like four guys on the whole team.
Yeah.
Compared to 13 to 15 that have exceeded projections.
Yeah.
That's why you are at where you're at.
Right. I don't disagree. I think as much as I've defended Turner, I think it's largely I've defended him because I know the role. He's not playing every day. I know it seems like he's played a lot lately. They faced a lot of lefties. We can sit here and make an argument about Michael Busch playing more against lefties. That's fair, but it's not the same conversation we're having here right now. I think Turner, will he be better by the end of the year? Will he look like he's an above league average hitter? Will his WRC plus be better above league average by the end of the year? I certainly hope so. I think it's taken some time for him to adjust to being just like a veteran bat off the bench. all these things, adjusting to a new team, whatever. They're lame excuses, personally. I'm kind of disgusted with myself for saying them, but I think they are also I think that's how the Cubs feel. So they're going to need Turner to be a better hitter. I think he's had some, his last couple of weeks have been fine. Last couple of days haven't exactly been fine, but I think he's still one of their better situational hitters. So we'll have that. And then Ben Brown, it's like just a roller coaster.
Yeah, he's right there. He could be meeting expectations and projections here. It's close.
If I were to pick a guy who on this list that will be exceeding projections,
bumping up.
Yeah, if we get to the end of the year and we talk about him exceeding projections, it would be Ben Brown.
I think Happ will bump up one, and I think Brown will bump up
by the end of the
one.
year. Ian Happ will have the same numbers that he's had the last 3 years.
All right, the much-awaited all-quarter-century Cubs team is on the way. But first, a word from our sponsors, Cody. Game time.
Game time. Game time makes scoring MLB tickets faster and easier with exclusive discounts. You can find great seats for as low as $10 sometimes, depending on the weather at beautiful historic Wrigley Field or, a team that's in town. It with so many games, it fluctuates, The game time guarantee means you can trust you'll get 100% authentic MLB tickets on time and at the best price. Plus, fees are always included. So what you see is what you pay. No bait and switch, Luke Stuckmeyer. Mm-hmm. No bait and switch.
Never.
They make getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. I say this all the time. We got Friday 120 Club, not this week. The week after? They got the Pirates on the 12th or the 13th.
Yep.
We're 4-1 at Friday 120 Club. Unfortunately, we lost last Friday. It was a disgusting game. At least they won the series. Disgusting game last Friday. So we're going to bounce back against the Pirates. You want to come hang out with me, Braggs, Sarah, Emma, and I know our guy Sean Caselli will be there. He's been to literally every single Friday 120 this year.
Caselli's a warrior.
Yeah. Luke Stuckmeyer, I'm going to drag him there.
I'll be there.
Anyway, if you want to come hang out with us, you got to go on Game Time and get your ticket. And I always look at Game Time when I get off the red line at Addison, and I just follow the prices for those 2 hours that I'm at Murphy's before I go into the ballpark. And the longer you wait, you're going to get a better value on your ticket no matter what. So that's how I do it. That's how you should do it. That's how they want you to do it. Wait until the very last minute, all right? They have last-minute deals. You can save up to 60% off on some of those events, whether it's going to Cubs games or concerts, comedy, theater, more. You can save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time choose the seats. They have all-in pricing. When you toggle that feature, it shows a total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. They got the seat views. So, there's a pole at Wrigley. You can get a panoramic view to make sure you're not sitting behind a pole, right? And they have the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. They have Game Time ticket coverage, where your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem with code CHGO for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Oh, Mando. Whole body deodorant. Safe to use anywhere on your body. Pits, balls, thigh folds, belly buttons, butt cracks, and feet. Choose from a variety of scents like bourbon leather, Clover Woods, Mount Fuji, or Pro Sport. Clinically proven to control odor better than the shower with soap alone. 12 hours after a shower, the average man's Grundle odor level was a 5 out of 10. With Mando, the average Grundle odor level is 0 out of 10. Mando Starter Pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for our listeners, new customers get $5 off the starter pack with our exclusive code that equates to over 40% off your starter pack. So use the code CHGO when you shop at Mando.com. That's SHOPMANDO.com. Please support the show. Tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando.
Hey, so we're getting to the All
quarter century team. Here we go. All debatable, all quarter century team.
There was a comment in the chat that asked earlier, and we didn't do this, but we didn't pick a manager.
Yeah. Well, that's
I think
Joe
that's
Madden.
pretty easy, right?
That's Joe Madden.
It has to be Joe Madden, right?
Only guy that's ever won a World Series is Joe Madden.
And, you can complain about how he did Game 7 or whatever, but they still won.
Joe Madden.
Yeah. They don't win without
There's
him.
not a player on that team, no matter how upset they may or may not have been with any decisions that were made in Game 7 or whatever, any other time, they all still would say they weren't there without Joe Madden.
I would agree.
It's Madden. It's not close.
So he's not on the graphic if you haven't seen it on Twitter or our Instagram, but it's
well, I'm going to have to put on my readers to see what we chose. I know we talked
How did you forget?
Well, no, that didn't help because it's not far enough away. Can you blow that up for me, Sarah? I can't see that thing.
There you go.
Edward was asking how the spider bite's going. It's affected my vision. I'm not seeing as clearly as I used to, and it's actually grown into the size of a golf ball now.
It's not great for video. Oh,
if
man.
you're on the live YouTube chat, it looks like there could be babies in there, right?
Perhaps.
You're just, what is the word? Evolving into your new
Spider-Man.
Right.
Spider-Man.
Right.
Body.
He's going to be swinging around the office soon.
Once the show's over, he said he was going to climb on the walls.
I was looking at that brick wall and I thought,
Okay.
climb right up that. Okay,
So-
all quarter century team. There are some debatable spots.
Shall we start with pitchers or do you want to start with position players?
Let's go with the pitchers. Start with the pitchers. Jon Lester, automatic.
Automatic. I think Jon Lester
Jake
absolutely.
Arrieta, easy, automatic.
Yep.
Big Z, easy, automatic. Kyle Hendricks, for me, easy, automatic. Started Game 7, had that great season in 2016.
He was here for what, like 9-10 years, right?
Yeah.
Wait, his last season in 2024,
was
he
the
debuted
longest
in 14?
tenured Cub, was one of the few guys out of that group to actually make it. So
Yeah.
for me, those four are not debatable.
Okay.
The fifth starter is where it gets a little trickier.
Yeah.
We went
Kerry
with Kerry
Wood.
Wood. Now, who are the other arguments, or why did we choose Kerry Wood?
Well, first off, it is all quarter, so you can't use 1998, the 20 strikeout game.
That's
and
right.
Just the fact that I think he was in the Rookie of the Year chase that year.
Technically, it's 2000 to 2024, which is why we will get in a little bit of trouble later. But
Yeah.
because
Whatever.
most people think quarter century, you think, 2000 to 2025, but actually
Right.
that's 26 years.
Right. I think if we didn't go with Kerry Wood, maybe you go with Ryan Dempster.
That's what somebody just said in the chat. What Dempster? What
Ted
about
Lilly.
Mark Pryor? Mark Pryor's 2003 was spectacular.
But it's 1 year.
I know.
But also we put PCA in center. So, I mean,
We know. I mean, if there's anything, we're hypocrites. We know that.
yeah. We know we're hypocrites. It's fine.
Fly the W, capital H.
Other pitchers they could have used. Matt Clement, maybe.
Matt Clement was good. I don't think Steele's body of work is big enough to put him in that conversation.
Would you?
Quintana's not on that list.
No. Would you have put Greg Maddux in there?
No, because Maddox didn't do enough in that time period with the Cubs.
Yeah, I would agree too.
He was on the team. Like you were talking about the greatest players to ever play for the Cubs. Well, that's a totally different list.
Right. But he was at the end of his career when he
was
back.
at the end of his career. So like Samardzija was like top of the rotation guy.
Yeah.
Ted Lilly would be higher than Samardzija for me. To me, out of that group, it's Big Z.
Yeah.
He's your opening day guy. It was Big Z. Then I have to have somebody from the current teams, and that's easy. It's Lester, Arrieta, and Hendricks. And then it's Wood over Pryor, but I understand how that's debatable.
Yeah, I mean, I think Wood has he has more seasons of success. His 03 season was awesome, right?
Yep.
We all know if injuries don't happen, he probably has a much better career. Didn't he end up getting he got a Hall of Fame vote? Didn't he get a Hall of Fame vote?
I would hope so. Somebody says Lieber, but Lieber's too late in the list for that.
Yeah. I mean,
Or too early
yeah,
for the list.
perhaps.
I think what we have is a pretty good list.
As
People
far as
could argue
pitchers,
Mark
yeah.
Pryor would be in there, and I'm fine with that if you want to put Mark Pryor.
Because his 03 was that awesome.
Nobody threw Jason Hamill on there. Jason Hamill was solid too, and so was who am I thinking of? The guy from the Angels.
Maybe
some eggs.
Maybe
I didn't come here for
I can't believe I didn't think about this.
For a haircut, came from the rings.
I can't believe I didn't say this, but like Yu Darvish,
too short of a time and just not that. No.
It's
Pryor or Wood for me. It really is.
Okay.
Now
that's what we went with.
All right, so let's go to Cubs catcher because this was tough for you.
Yeah, we went with Wilson Contreras, which I deserve a lot of credit for allowing this to happen.
Right, Giovanni Soto was Rookie of the Year. But I would have to say Wilson Contreras is the end. Now, David Ross makes some argument. Miggy Montero, nobody on this list, including Wilson Contreras, had bigger hits in bigger moments in Cubs history than Miguel Montero. So I don't want the disrespect for Miggy Montero. I think there's an argument that Wilson could be replaced for Grand Slam Miggy Montero.
I don't.
But I believe the answer is Wilson.
Yeah, it's Contreras because he's the longer tenured. He had multiple All-Star appearances. He, he was a part of a lot of winning teams.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I think that's the bottom line, and that's why he goes there. Giovanni Soto, Flash, was 1 year.
Michael Barrett had a great moment, a couple great moments.
Great moment.
I actually love Michael Barrett. David Ross gets an argument. He's the only player that would have been on this list that was carried off on the player's shoulders.
Yeah, but if we're gonna,
the answer is Contreras.
Yeah, all these other catchers are they're like 1 or 2 year guys.
Yes,
you know what I mean. Contreras was here for
Wilson's the guy
forever.
Wilson's the guy. Now that's a similar argument though over at third base.
Yeah. Because
Aramis Ramirez was a run producer for a long time for the Cubs. But he gets the boot because Kris Bryant
was an MVP.
And a Rookie of the Year there. Yeah. And he won the World Series. He threw the ball to first on the final out.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
Yeah.
It's Kris Bryant. Sorry, Aramis. I think he would agree. Shorter period of time, but it was such a peak that Kris Bryant's the guy.
Yeah, I think even if you looked at both guys at their peak, Kris Bryant's probably better than Aramis Ramirez. So, yeah, I don't think that's really an argument at all. We ended up putting Ramirez at DH, which if you haven't seen the graphic yet, we put Anthony Rizzo at first base. And so it was very much we put Ramirez at DH because you had to find a way to get Aramis Ramirez or Derek Lee on this graphic. I feel bad that Derek Lee isn't on here, but Anthony Rizzo has to be on here. It's Rizzo
or D. Lee.
Anthony Rizzo.
You got to give it to Rizzo. D. Lee is going to have the better major league career in my eyes. If you tell me who was a better major league player, Anthony Rizzo or Derek Lee, I will probably answer Derek Lee, not even looking at the numbers. But if you're telling me who is better, one guy was the leader of the team and played for a long time on the right. It's Rizzo. Mm-hmm. It's Rizzo. I feel horrible leaving D. Lee out, but it's Rizzo. Rizzo's going to be in the Cubs Hall of Fame too.
Yeah. Well, I also think there's more consistency from Anthony Rizzo, to be honest with you, because Derek Lee had one of the greatest seasons. Actually, let's not even say one of. He had the best season of this quarter century in 2005.
Okay.
2005, Derek Lee. Kris Bryant didn't have a season better than that. Derek Lee in 2005 should have been MVP.
D. Lee is our last 40 home run guy.
Right. In 2005, Derek Lee hit 335, 418, 662 with a 1,080 OP plus. OPS. I can't talk. I'm sorry. But when you look at Anthony Rizzo, I mean, this guy from 2014 to 2020 with the Cubs, he was either an all-star, he was either an all-star, getting MVP votes, or winning Gold Gloves. Right? He was an all-star from 14 through 16. He actually got MVP votes in 17 and 18, and he won 3 straight Gold Gloves before he was finally done after 2021. So, but when you look at Anthony Rizzo's career as a Cub, 272, 372, 489 with an 861 OPS. You look at Derek Lee at first base, 298, 378, 524 with a 903 OPS. I think Derek Lee's just that slash line obviously is better, but I do think all the other things, that the winning, I think those things outweigh it. And I think that that's how you make these, right? Like if we just went with statistics, then I don't know if we could even put Kerry Wood with the pitchers.
Well, that's why
you know what I mean?
That's why I have a problem with our DH. Our DH is Aramis. Aramis never actually DH'd. We're just putting an extra player there. But
neither
that could
did
be
Derek Lee.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like DH would almost have to be Seiya.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd like to put Schwarber in there too, into that mix. But it's like
Derek Lee
Soriano was more productive over a longer period of time, and I like Schwarber better, but Soriano's in left. The one that will get the most debate and heat is center field for us.
Yeah, we probably should have put Dexter Fowler because he hit the home run, the leadoff home run in Game 7. He had his best season of his career with the Cubs.
Go, we go.
He was here for 2 years. And if you look at the center fielders at the Cubs this last 25 years, it's literally like Dexter Fowler and then everyone else, like David DeJesus and Reed Johnson.
Jim Edmonds, Reed Johnson.
Jim Edmonds for a half season, right? Like,
who else was out there?
Corey Patterson.
Marlon Byrd played center when he was here, I think.
Corey Patterson played center, right?
Corey Patterson.
What
about didn't Campana throw a little
Tony
leather in
Campana?
center?
Yeah, well, he's on my list of Cubs legends.
Oh, yeah, I saw that online,
I think let's just be honest about it. We put PCA on there because we're taking vibes. 2, we're taking a flyer on a guy going the next 25 years.
We're hoping it's a keeper league.
Yeah.
If it's a keeper league, we're betting on it, but that's not disrespect to Dexter Fowler. Probably should have been Dexter Fowler. Because this season doesn't count for with it being 2000 to 2024. That's where we run into trouble with PCA. If you're including this year and you're saying, hey, look, it's 2000 to 2025, then you can argue the couple months we have here. But we're all about vibes, and that's all we've ever been about. So I said, Cody, put whoever you want.
And also, and this is to answer one of the bigger names on White Sox Twitter that trolled us in the comments of this. This is our list. It's no disrespect to Dexter Fowler. We just believe in PCA being great for the next 15 years, and he's gonna end up being way better than Dexter Fowler was. So we're buying stock now. But yeah, it really was a fight between him and Pete Crow Armstrong, even for just PCA's 2024.
And Sammy's the only choice in right.
Oh, yeah.
But without that speech.
No, I would not. I would not have put Jason Hayward on here.
Without Hayward's speech, are we all sitting here today?
What's other guys that you could have put on
there? Jeremy Burnitz. No, I mean, Sammy's the answer.
Castellanos.
Yeah, Castellanos. No, Sammy is the answer.
Yeah, Sammy's the answer. Yeah. So if I could change this graphic around.
Albert Almora they want on there.
Oh, God.
No, without Albert Almora.
Don't do that. Just for one moment, that does not get you on the all-quarter century team. It doesn't, one moment doesn't get you on the all-quarter century
closer
team.
We debated over and over. Wade Davis was pretty elite. Chapman.
We didn't do up the middle there with the infield, by the way.
Well, it's Javi and Zobrist, right? Yeah, Zobrist is an easy answer at second, although D-Rose honorable mention for me.
Starlin Castro, put some respect.
Yeah, but for me, it's Javi.
You could. I would have put Javi at short, but I would have put Starlin Castro at second. He played some second
over
base.
Ben Zobrist, World Series MVP. Come on.
I'm not saying that. No. I'm not saying that. He should. I'm saying you can
Cassie
make him.
Was good, but he was no Ben Zobrist. World
agree.
Series MVP.
I agree. I would.
Friend of the show.
I wouldn't put Starlin Castro over him. I'm saying Castro's probably the only other guy that makes an argument. He was on pace for 3,000 hits.
You don't want the Riot?
No. The guy who went to St. Louis.
D-Row was pretty electric at second base.
But it's such a short tenure, though.
Yeah, it's Zobrist, and I think Javi's the answer at short, although... We're going to get to, Javi had started to have a season where I thought he was going to win MVP.
Yeah.
If Dansby plays here,
well, he's got 4
5
more
years.
years.
But it's not going to fit in this
Yeah.
quarter century.
I think if the Cubs had done any winning with Dansby Swanson before we did this,
Yes.
like maybe you can make
Maybe
an
you can
argument.
make an Yeah, maybe.
As
But
far
the
as Wade
answer is
Davis, at closer, I threw him out there because he was with the Cubs the entire 2017 season. He helped them win a playoff game. He closed out Game 5 of the NLDS against the Nationals the year after they won the World Series. He was there the entire season. He was the closer the entire year. Like, that's the dude. And, like, Chapman was here for 3 months, right? Carlos Marmol, I guess, makes an argument, but I think too many people or more people remember the bad times of Carlos Marmol more than the good times. And really, it's like 1 year for him, too, 2008. You know, like, I think Wade Davis is 1 year with the Cubs. He was awesome, and it came with success. That's why I went with him. That's why I voted him.
Yeah, don't sleep on Darwin Barney. Did he win a Gold Glove, I believe?
Yes.
Okay, so.
And he broke a record for, like, consecutive games without an error.
Darwin Barney. Shout out to Darwin Barney. Yeah. All right, that's our list. Check it out. We've got it online if you want to see what it is. And comment on it. Let us know what you think.
Well, everyone's going to let us know that Dexter Fowler should be in center. And that's fine.
We agree.
That's fine. We agree, but, you know, whatever. We're taking a flyer with a guy moving into the future.
We're about vibes, and we'll always be about vibes. Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota and Bet365. Back tomorrow after the Cubs game against the Nationals. Yep. We'll be right here. Until then, thanks for watching. Tell a friend. Fly the W.
We all silly like the mayor.